Hey there, everyone. Welcome to A Slice of Life with Kelly and John. Our guest today is Gloria Cirulli, and she is an award-winning interior decorator, designer. Um, which is better,
Stylist.
decorator or designer or both? Is it both?
Both.
Okay.
Hmm.
And what's the difference?
A decorator is more finishing touches, putting things together, um, color selection, tchotchkes, decorative pieces,
Okay.
um, doing like decor for a home. A designer, there's different types of designers. You can be a interior designer, a licensed designer, but I do design work where I can design feature walls, accent walls, design a space, look at a kitchen, see how it needs to be renovated, things like that. So it's a
Okay.
little deeper dig, I guess.
Do you get the advantage ever to get in when the floor plans are being drawn up?
Yes.
Or okay, and sometimes you get to see the kitchen before it's even constructed.
Right, right. And I'll weigh in a lot of times on what that kitchen should end up looking like.
Right.
So, and sometimes not. Sometimes they already have an architect or designer or a builder, and I'm brought in more for the aesthetic portion of
Well,
it, I'd say.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Now, and I'm probably getting to this too quickly. Um, but uh, You know, I think back on people who used graph paper to do
Uh-huh.
what you did, and an artist's rendering.
Uh-huh.
Am I to assume now that those days are gone and you're actually designing the room using AI in some format, putting in the appliances and the cabinets and not drawing them, but actually
Right.
seeing them? Okay.
Yeah, so there's obviously a huge trend
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
using AI and all these different programs for design. And then there's still some old school way of doing it with graph paper. And sometimes that really works the
Right.
best.
Right. Right.
I sometimes have little cutout pieces that, simulate sizing of things that can be now physically
Hmm.
manipulated
Hmm.
when I'm there. Sometimes, I'm on new construction sites, there's no internet, right? So pulling up certain things, all of a sudden there's a hard stop. So I'd say I am more old school, and like to have that physical
Hmm.
aspect of it as well. And my clients, when I have younger clients, right? So, the millennials or Gen Xers, they're more like, send me links, send me links, send me links of,
Mhm.
whatever. And they send the Pinterest board, and that's, all fine and good. The big question I always get is, are you on Pinterest? I'm like,
Uh,
no, I'm really not. And I look at your boards, but I don't do anything with Pinterest because for a designer, decorator, it's a rabbit hole. I'll just start and I won't know, I keep clicking and linking and I don't even know where I began, right? And 2 hours later, I didn't get much done. So, right.
Well,
So,
that could be another thing too that I found with a lot of the kinds of programs that I'm sure you deal with. It's 2026. You probably started playing with this maybe in 2015, and when you mastered that program by 2017, it was obsolete.
right.
And
yeah.
so you've had to
Right.
learn that
Yeah.
version or that upgrade
Yeah.
a handful of times. Every time you
Right.
grasp it, now it's another thing.
Right.
Okay.
Again, it's the age of technology. Like I said, people want links of things, and I'm fine with that. Send me links, I'll review them, I'll send you links. But like I reference, I'm more old school in the fact that how I prefer to work is get to know the client, figure out the likes and dislikes, see the direction that we're going in, and then start to gather ideas. And then I literally still print them out on paper, chairs and couches and tables and lamps and different things, area rugs, and bring them to that, to the home site.
Hmm.
And then we start to, put them out that way. And more importantly, I'll bring, say, choices of multiple couches for them to look at. Now, if I'm sending them a link, all they're doing is clicking back and forth, tab to tab, unless they have what I call Command Central set up. So, multiple computers or an iPad and a computer and a phone. How are they comparing anything if they're just jumping from screen to screen? Oh, I
Right.
like this. I don't. And then they click back to something else. Oh, I click to this. I click to that. And I don't see a reaction from them. So that's part of being able to deliver to them their vision, their dream, their feel, their vibe for their home, not someone else's home, not my home. So if I go there and I show them, say, pictures of couches, we'll start with that. And I start to read the body language and the facial expressions and what they're, even how they're touching that paper, even if they back away a little bit. So it's so valuable for me to do this type of a process because I can see their initial gut reaction to something. And then that really has a great trajectory in the direction that we're going in. And I miss out on that, right? If I just
Right.
bombard them with links. So,
Right,
and I'll
right.
work however a client wants. I've had clients where that's the way that we do it because they're long distance or they're super busy. But in general, it's the touch of, being with the client that makes the difference.
Well, it's working for you because you've
Yeah.
won some awards.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
you got the Fort Myers 2025 Platinum winner for interior decorator and the Fort Myers 2025 Platinum winner for interior design. So you got
Yeah.
design and decorator both.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and what to me what was really
congratulations.
important about that was it was a community vote. So it really is, it's not just, a write-in thing. It's not just like what Fort Myers Township or business thinks should be winning. It's community voted.
Were
So
they for the same job?
no,
Uh,
it was multiple clients that, vendors, contractors, clients, any people that interacted that saw that I was nominated
no, no. I
went on
mean,
and
did you get the award for design and uh, interior
Decorator.
decorating? Were they for the same location
uh, like
that you
the same
worked on?
house, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it wasn't
It was
any particular
overall.
home. It was just
Oh, oh,
multiple
oh,
clients of
got it,
mine
got
and
it,
vendors and contractors that have dealt with me.
got
They
it.
saw that I was nominated and there was a period of time where people had to vote. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's pretty big. That's pretty
Yeah,
big.
I was really, really proud and honored.
Well, I'm looking on your Facebook page. I know your website's being worked on right now, but we'll still
Yes,
put the link if you want below in the
sure.
description. But I'm looking at these beautiful, are these is this your work? Pictures of your work?
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I need I do have somebody who does my admin kind of stuff, but I'm not as up on social media as I should, posting a lot of things. And part of it is, again, I'm really blessed and fortunate that I'm very busy with clients, so I don't always take the time to post what's going on, what projects I'm working on. But the ones that are on there are projects that I've done. Yeah.
Where did this creativity come from? I mean, what did you do 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
Well,
Well,
that,
yeah.
Or have you
Well, like,
always had the
I'm picking
knack?
a number.
Have you
yeah.
always had a knack for design?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really crazy. I always had a thing for color, okay? I can't explain it. I've had four different clients over the last 5, 6 years call me a color savant. I know savant is a thing, but I don't think color savant is quite a thing. But I've always had a thing for colors, and I really can't explain it. I kind of equate it to people that have perfect pitch with music. They're,
Okay.
few and far between.
Hmm.
So when I look at a color, I see layers behind the color.
Wow.
So we know black is not black is not black, and even white is not white is not white, and blue is not blue is not blue. But I really see the layers behind it, and sometimes it's one layer or two or three, and I don't know how to explain it or describe it. I even felt this when I was a child opening that Crayola 64
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
I would just open the box and there was something about the colors and I would see the layers behind those crayons.
So
I
you were the
would,
person who used sienna.
yes. Probably. And then when my parents we'd go to like a department store, right? Back in, like back in the day, and you didn't have to, you should have kept an eye on your children, but it wasn't like today, right? And they would invariably find me at the display table that had like the mannequin, the half mannequin even, and and then around it would have like all tops or skirts or whatever. And I was rearranging. I
Oh,
could barely reach the top of the table. I was
oh
probably
wow.
4. And I
Uh-huh.
would rearrange the colors. And I would, in my head, say I mean, I wasn't talking to the mannequin, but in my head, I would be like, that outfit just isn't right. And I was like 4 years old.
Wow. So it's a skill, a specific skill that you have, and probably
And
something to do with your vision. You have
yeah,
extra special sensory
yeah.
vision.
So I
Um,
went to college and my parents wanted me to get a business degree. I wanted something more artsy, but they, wanted a business degree. So I chose marketing because that was the most artsy at the time. And I went into sales promotion advertising in New York City. And I did that, and it was, a great creative outlet for me. And, then I moved from New York to New Jersey. I got married, I had my children, and I was always very entrepreneurial. I sold Avon at 14. It wasn't even legal.
mhm.
I had a register under my mom's name as the representative. Then I sold Tupperware. I was always very entrepreneurial, and I was, I guess, a stay-at-home mom, but not really. I always did lots of things and worked around my children's schedule. So then back in, I don't even know what year it was, early 2000s, I started an event planning company with a business partner. And that kind of segued into event styling as well. And then our events were always like styled really beautifully and over the top, like above and beyond. And people would
Fun.
come in and they'd be so taken aback by the design of the event, not just what was happening at the event.
Mhm.
And then people were asking me, could we do events in their home, like, a party thrown in their home? And sure. And on occasion, they would say, well, my couch is a little tattered. Do you have any suggestions? Can you help me pick a couch? And then I was redoing my own home. And this was about 20 years ago, I'd say between 15 and 20 years ago. So I've been doing the decorating for quite a long time, but I was doing other things as well. I had the event planning company. I was running a networking organization for eWomen Network. I started a chapter in Central New Jersey. I was doing so many things. So it was a lot on my plate.
Wow. I call
Yeah.
that a juggler.
Yes.
You're juggling a
Mhm.
lot of different things and you've got a
Yeah.
lot of different skills and talents and you're kind
Yeah.
of, I guess with the decorating, you've kind of wrapped them all up and put them in one basket because you're an
I,
entrepreneur, you're a
yes.
decorator, you're using your creativity, your
Yeah.
color talent. Um,
Thank you.
wow. Yeah, I'm looking at these pictures and they're stunning. I have creativity, but I don't know. D interior design, I've never been. It's not my skill, I guess. Um, and everybody has their own style, but I
Right.
have a hard time looking at a room and where do you begin? Like, how do you begin?
Well, I
Let's say
mean,
you have an
And
empty room, right? Do you
and
start
I'm
with
going
an
to tell
empty room?
you honestly, I don't know.
Just
I,
you just
my
have that
my
talent.
sister is my associate as far as like the administration part of it, right? And she doesn't have and she's the first one to say it, she doesn't have the gift of the interior
Yeah,
decorating or design. And every time I'll go to a new job, I'll come home and I'll say, unless it's specific, like maybe somebody just wants area rugs or something, but if I'm redoing a space or it's blank because it's new build or something like that, I always say, "Oh my God, I don't know where to begin." And she said, "You'll figure it out." And as I'm
go with
shopping or
it.
searching, it takes one item. So it's
right.
really not a formula. And I know that in decorating, there's lots of rules and lots of formulas to go by. I don't really do that, which makes me a little bit different, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure there's other decorators that don't follow a formula either, but it's not always selecting the paint color first or the carpet first or the couch first. It's really what catches you and your client, right? So what really catches you, what you're gravitating towards, and that's really sometimes how you build a room. And I've built a room around throw pillows. Like they were just
Okay.
spectacular throw pillows, and that is what set the whole course in motion. I call it the domino effect. It's like just starts to tip over, and we just keep going, 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 going.
One of the things that you have here is that, so who is doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
just like you explained it? Who's your ideal client?
Yeah, what kind
What,
of people hire you?
yeah, what do you like to, what do you dread walking into, and what do you love walking into?
Um, that's not the dread walking into is an unfair question. Um, so truly, and you make a joke. My client, my ideal client is anyone and everyone, and that's not really true. But I have my clients really run the gamut. I have some that are young couples. I have some that have growing families. I have down here. I'm in Southwest Florida, right? So between Naples and Fort Myers. I service between Marco and I'd say Babcock Ranch heavily, and then some other places as well. But I have a lot of retirees. I have a lot of seasonal, snowbirds as they're called, but they're
Right.
seasonals where they come back and forth. They buy things turnkey, and they think they love it, and then they get down here and they live in it for a few months, and they're like, "Oh, this, is somebody else's everything." Right? All the furniture and decor and drapes and they don't like it. So I do a lot of that. I do a lot of people that are remarried. So
Right.
it's
Right.
yours, mine, ours, right? We have to blend the styles.
Hmm.
So I'm good at blending styles and things like that. So it's really a variety. I do investors who buy investment properties down here and they look to flip them. And that's one of the sets of photos that's on my Facebook page is from an investment property that I did. And that was really a dream. That is, I enjoy that a lot because, of
Yeah,
course, you need
the
to know what
walk-in
the,
closet. Is that the
I'm
one with the
sorry.
walk-in closet?
Yeah.
And
So, I'm
yeah, do
sorry.
you get to pick like the doorknobs and the light switches and all of that too? That I
For the
think would
most,
be
yeah,
fun.
I mean, some jobs not, but for the most part. But with an investor, they obviously have some sort of budget, and a lot of times they don't have in mind how they really want it to look. So
Right.
they just ask what I would like to do, and I give them an idea of what the pricing will be for some of the furnishings at least, so they see that I'm respectful of the budget.
Right.
And then it's usually like, okay, do what you want and just tell me where the money is going, like which credit card and what store and so forth. So those projects are, that's really a dream. But I love working really with anyone who just I think what happens is they live in an environment that is not cohesive for them for a while, right? An average person. They want to redo a room or they don't know where to start. They feel tied to a certain piece of furniture, but it's really not aligning with what they want to do. And they don't know how to fix that. They don't know how to blend it. They don't know how to maybe honor that piece and by placing it somewhere else or refinishing it. So I really just love working with a variety of clients, and it's great satisfaction when you do a space for them. And so often they just almost like touch their heart and they're like, oh, this is my room now, or this is my wall that we create. It's very gratifying. Yeah.
I bet. So I have a question. You remember how gray was real popular for a while, like gray walls? And it might still be. What's the new popular color for walls?
So there's this term called grayish. Okay.
Okay.
Years ago it was all, beige, especially down in Florida. It was very Tuscan, almost that yellowy, orangey kind of underhue to the
Was that
beiges and the
the era
browns.
of the pastel?
Yeah.
Was pastels is, you know. Is that what they called it back then?
Pastel, well, it was pastels and then it went down here, especially in Florida, this very Tuscan kind of look,
Okay.
terrazzo and Tuscan and that orangey, beigey kind of color. And then the whole gray and white came out.
Mhm.
And gray is a very, very cool color, very cold color in general. And it's very cyclical. So then they introduced a number of years ago, I think HGTV probably came up with the term grayish, okay, which is a combination of the gray and the beige.
Okay.
Taupe is a combination of beige with gray. So one is a lead color.
Okay.
So when you have a taupe color, it's more in the browns and the beiges, but there is that gray undertone to it. And when you have grayish, it's a gray is the lead color, stronger, dominant. And then the beiges and the browns are undertone. So I think people are kind of leaning more towards that because you can kind of go either way. So if you paint your walls one of these neutral grayish colors, if you put beiges and camels and browns, it pulls that out of the color. If you put grays, it's going to pull that out of the wall color.
Okay.
So, and then there are every year there's, Sherwin Williams, Benjamin Moore, they have their, colors of the year. So, down in Florida, blue will never go out of style. There's all different shades of blue down here, and teals and aquas and greens and whatever. But green is becoming a pretty heavy color again, like the moss colors and that not olive, but kind of that really earthy tones are pretty popular even down in Florida. So.
Okay.
The other thing
I,
that's come back big is the organic look, the bamboo, the rattan, the wicker. I mean, that was back
yes.
in like the 70s.
Yeah.
Seagrass, but it's really beautiful, and I've done some homes that it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it reminds me of like a tropical island, going
So
on a
right.
tropical
So what
vacation or
what
something.
what we do down here is we're using those organic materials, but mixing in also some stone and
Okay.
all natural woods, and then not so much the florals, but we're using a lot of creams and the this earthy green. Black is an accent color. So it takes away the tropical feel, but it gives it a very
Yeah.
light, bright, it's almost like a boho organic coastal feel.
Okay. Fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. I tend to like bright color, not
Mhm.
bright, light colors
Light
because it
colors,
just feels upbeat and happy
right?
and like I don't like the really they look really rich and they can be very beautiful, the dark woods and
Yes.
the darker
Yeah.
looking furniture and walls and accents, but I just tend to gravitate towards lighter,
Right.
happy. It makes me feel,
Right.
happy, whatever.
And geographically, things are very different. When I
Yeah.
decorated up in New York and New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and then I moved down to Florida, I mean, since 2018, but you kind of have to like get your feel for it. And then my daughter lives in Colorado, and she and her boyfriend bought a home, and I went out there in September, and I walked into the furniture stores, and I was like, oh, I'm not in Florida anymore. It was a
Yeah.
totally different vibe, and you kind of have to get your pace with that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it says something about your personality. Your home has to fit your
Absolutely.
personality too. That's why but
Exactly.
I do love the pictures on your Facebook page because they're bright, they're light, they're happy,
Right. Yeah.
Um,
And that's what I
very
tell my
pretty.
clients a lot of times. Like I really can decorate to anyone's taste or style or color palette, budget. When you look at pictures for anything that you're looking at, right? For style and design, it may not be your style, it may not be your color palette, but is the room put together? And not
Yeah.
not for their own home. For their own home, it needs to be their style, their
Right.
taste, their color palette. But when you're looking at examples, even when they're creating these Pinterest boards and other things, it doesn't have to be exactly everything that they're looking for in order for them to be able to show me what they're looking for, if that makes
Hmm.
sense,
Mm-hmm.
right? They
Yep.
may not like the color, but they love the style.
Yep.
They may not like the style, but they love the color,
Yeah.
or they can appreciate that the room is put together well.
Yeah. Well, it
That's
has to be
really,
functional too,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
You have to be able to live in it and not tear everything apart every time you
Right.
want to do something. You want to have things
Right.
convenient. At
And
least
that
that's
depends
how I
on
like
the
mine.
client as well. So
Yeah.
some of my clients, they literally say, I just want pretty. Like I don't care if it's functional. I don't care if
Yeah.
it's durable. I just want pretty. And then I have other people that are, it needs to have a purpose. It needs to have a
Mhm.
functionality. And then I have others because like I said, I have investors that buy properties and sell them, but I also have investors that buy properties and now rent them.
Right.
Mhm.
So that's a whole different level of furnishing.
Yeah.
It needs to be aesthetically beautiful, but it needs to be functional and it needs to be durable as well, you know.
So you're busy all the time. You said you're always busy and you've got client after client after client. Is it word of mouth? Do you
Yeah.
advertise? How do people find you?
I've been, again, really fortunate and blessed, and I'm so grateful. It's truly all have been word of mouth. My website is more down than up. I'm having a company now do it, and we're in the home stretch. I was trying to do it, and aesthetically it was looking lovely, but technically, okay, the technology part of it was such a struggle for me because it's not my wheelhouse, right? So,
Yeah.
I would have it up or I didn't publish it because I wasn't quite finished with it. And this was a struggle for a long time. And when I moved down here, I actually rebranded and changed the name of my business. But so I was trying to create a website for that. So now I have a company that's doing it. But I'm not going to say I don't need a website. I do because it would help me to work smarter, not harder. Meaning, if when people do want to see photos, that I don't have to constantly,
Yeah.
be sending them out. They can just go to the website and see updates and things like that. But it's all been word of mouth, whether it's a client, friends, vendors that I work with, contractors that I work with, handymen that I work with that recommends me, and social media recommendations. So it may not be somebody literally speaking to somebody else, but when people ask for a decorator in this whole Southwest Florida area, people will jump on, like I said, my
Right.
clients, vendors, contractors that I've worked with, stores that I've worked with, and recommends me. So I've been really, really, really fortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the name
Mhm.
of your company is Reveal LLC?
Reveal
Decorating
decorating. Reveal
decorating and okay,
decorating.
Reveal Decorating. I'm looking at your Facebook page.
Yep.
So
Reveal
Reveal
decorating.
Decorating. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Because I want to help people reveal the beauty that comes from their space. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, that looks nice. Huh. So what else?
I, I, I just you feel it looks to me that you're just happy in what you
Yeah,
do.
I
You know,
am.
that's
Yeah,
the
you
great
you light
part.
up when you talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, what are
Yeah.
some lessons you've learned along the way? Like, what are some things you could share with other people on your path
Oh,
or anybody looking to start a business?
yeah, lots of lessons because I've owned lots of businesses over the years. I became a single mom um, back in the late 90s. My children were young and their dad was involved. It's not like he wasn't involved for them, but it was a matter of, okay, I want to be around for them and be as much of a participatory mom as I could be. So getting them off to school and picking them up and all those things that I chose to do. And so I said, well, I'm just going to start businesses. And I had business prior to that. I had a bridal shop prior to that back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I've morphed, like I said, into these different businesses. And what I think is really, really important is the connections that you build along the way. And it's not just transactional, it is relationship building that you're doing. Every step of the way, it's relationship building. And just knowing that whatever product or service you're delivering has a lasting effect, right? So, I mean, you're
Yeah.
even eating food at a restaurant is still, there is a lasting effect that takes place. And my parents raised my sister and I that even like it's almost more important how somebody feels after you walk away from them and you're no longer in their presence than how they feel when you're actually there with them.
Hmm.
And but also when you're there with them, it's not easy for everyone to be engaging. Okay, like everyone again has their strong suits, right? But it's great to have conversations with people and be engaging, but also be engaged, right? So communication takes on a lot of forms. It's listening and it's observing. And I think that's something that I've learned from businesses. Be as responsive as you can, as quickly as you can. Because I'm going to be very honest with you, over the years and all the different businesses that I've owned, because I was the first person that returned a phone call,
Hmm.
sometimes that's what was the tipping scale. They were in dire need, or they spoke to me, and then they did speak to a couple other people, but they were very impressed of how responsive I was. So I think being responsive, following up, these are really, really important things, and staying in your lane. And that was something that I think for me, I don't want to say it was hard to do, but I had the event planning business, and it kind of was blossoming into event styling and a little bit of decorating on the side initially. And then I mentioned that I started a chapter for a networking organization, and I was doing entrepreneurial coaching and training. And I had so much going on, and I felt like I was handing out so many business cards for all the different things that I was doing. And yet I was training people, or coaching people, I should say, that kind of dilutes what you're offering, right? So when I moved down here, I said to myself, you need to pick a lane
Yeah.
and
Be
stay
good
in
at
that lane.
one thing and specialize in that rather than
Right.
spreading yourself out. But it sounds like you have so many skills and talents that some people just they can do one thing and that's
Right.
it. They're just, I'm good at
Yeah.
this. I don't want to know anything else. I don't know how to do
Right.
anything else. But it sounds like are good at a lot of things and you enjoy them. But you've
Hmm.
kind of, like I said earlier, just put it all in a package and now you get to
Yeah.
use all of your skills
Right.
to make.
Just
And I always considered business as the opportunity to make other people happy.
yes.
And that's, because obviously they want your product, they want what you're
Hmm.
selling. And then
Hmm.
if you can make them happier than somebody else can make them about that product
Right.
or whatever the service is,
Right.
then, how can you not be a success? How
Yeah.
could you fail?
Yeah, I tell when I'm speaking with the client initially, I'll offer a complimentary telephone consultation for people to kind of the get to know you process. I find out more about what their ideas are, what their needs are for decorating. They find out about my services, how I work. But I tell them I can make your home look like it's coming out of House Beautiful, like any magazine that you want. But it's your home, and if that's the goal that you want, that's great. But if you want it to feel cozy or homey or more organized, or however you want it to feel,
Hmm.
is what the vision and the vibe is what I will deliver for you. And because it's your home, not mine or not another client's home. And it's not only what's trending, if that's not what they're into. And I think the aesthetic aspect for me is very important. Obviously, I'm very visual, I'm very creative. I want them to love as much of their home. They're not going to love, they may love the dining room chairs, really, really like the dining room table. I'm hoping they love everything that we've picked out together. But at the end, it's not only that I made their home aesthetically beautiful, it's that they really enjoyed, again, hopefully love the
Process.
process of working with me, right?
Yep.
So that they're the next raving fan, right? I always say, I don't want anyone to say, she made my home beautiful, but I want them to say, she made my home beautiful and
That's it.
Hmm.
she
Yeah.
was great to work with, or, she really listened
That's
to
why
me.
you win awards,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that really is the bottom line on any
Hmm.
business is
Yeah.
making the customer happy. Not that
Hmm.
that whole saying the customer's always right, because some
Hmm.
people are pretty crazy. But making them happy. And that's
Yeah.
the fun of owning a business, I think,
Hmm.
beyond just some people go into it like just money. They don't care about the business. It's not even a product they are interested in, but they just do it for the money. But when you do it for your heart, I think
Yeah.
it's more rewarding and
Yes.
the customers feel it too,
Yeah.
right? So,
Definitely. I
yeah,
become friends with a lot of my customers, you
yeah.
know. Like tomorrow I'm going to a Super Bowl party from a client of mine from last year. And we're still friends. And like I mentioned earlier, when and this is a particular client because and it sounds crazy when she said this, but she came out like out of her room. They had finished. We had created an accent, a feature wall for in her home, and she came out of her room and she really just she touched her heart and she said, "My wall,"
Oh,
and
my
and
wow.
it's very gratifying. And I have another client who has a granddaughter who is on the spectrum. And she's very particular about her environment. So she came to visit the grandmother, and we had redone this bedroom. And the grandmother showed her the bedroom, and she said, "Well, you know, what do you think?" And she said she liked it. And then, you know, she said it was beautiful. And the next morning, my client, who's the grandmother, asked her, "So, you know, how did you sleep?" And she said, "It was so calming and peaceful for me."
Oh,
Ah,
And my client, her grandmother, was crying, tearing,
oh,
and I was tearing.
yeah.
And again, I became friends with this couple, the grandparents. We had dinner a month, not even a month ago. And she brought it up again because the granddaughter has come to visit a number of times. And she said, my granddaughter just loves that room. And she got choked up again. She said, you
Wow.
just created the most beautiful space for her.
That's
So,
big. Yeah, that's got to
yeah,
really fill your heart.
it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
well, it's so nice that you found something that is so rewarding. And like I said, it sounds like you probably would have, felt the same way about a lot of different things, but it just seems like this was the fit for you.
Yeah.
This was
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what works.
Yeah.
So,
I do. I love it. And all through my life, there was this, you know, pull of decorating or styling. Like I would, you know, style. I had an older sister, and so guess what? I got hand-me-downs a lot, right?
uh,
And I would be like, well, how can I breathe life into this, you know?
mhm,
And I do that with spaces as well because we
mhm,
do have people that are very attached to some things. And sometimes they say they, you know, can't part with something. And you know, I respect that.
yeah.
Tell me the story behind this piece. What does it mean to you so that we can find the right space for it and make it work? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I get that. We all have our little favorite things that we try to
Yes,
fit into.
for
You're like, I
sure.
like this style and I want more modern, but I got this old thing here that I don't want to get rid of. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
a skill. Well,
Hmm.
thank you so much for sharing this. Do you
Oh,
have
thank
one
you.
little tip that you can give us? Let's say, you're moving into a house and it's
Hmm.
not exactly what you wanted, maybe the colors of the walls or whatever.
Hmm.
What's the most important piece?
I think the most important thing is to prioritize really what you want done. What's the thing that will make you feel more at home, make you feel more cohesive in your space. That's a word that I use all the time, connectivity and cohesiveness of a space, connecting a space and to each other, but to yourself as well. And also, you know, like figure out your budget, like you know, honestly, what your budget is, and then see what you should be tackling. And it's not, again, it's not always in the order that we think it should be. We could juggle up that order of what needs to get done. That's going to make you feel happier in your space, you know, and really think about your dislikes as much as your likes, okay? Because that's really important.
That's
And a lot of times we tend to gravitate towards the same thing because that's, you know, that's what we know. And I think there's that phrase out there, you don't know what you don't know.
mm-hmm.
I actually, for years, in all the speaking that I've done, and I do talks now about decorating and styling and color. And years ago, when I did entrepreneurial coaching and training for communication skills and successful selling skills. I know the phrase is you don't know what you don't know, but I actually reverse it and say you only know what you only know
That's right.
Right.
because that is what you
Right.
are going to keep gravitating towards. And I think something I'd like to think what something that sets me apart is that I educate my clients as well. I explain to them why something is not connecting properly, is not cohesive, is not really the vibe that they're describing that they want or showing me that what they want, and then they'll select something and I explain it to them. Because if I don't explain it to them, first of all, I can't, I'm not going to be rude and say, nope, we're not getting
Yeah,
that.
you can't have that.
Or that's not going to work. I don't
Yeah.
speak that way to my clients. I'm always very kind and I want to explain to them because if not, they're just constantly going to send me the same options
Hmm.
and it's truly not ultimately, what they want.
Hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And then there are times, honestly, that I have clients that no matter how much they say they want to change, they truly are gravitating towards one thing, and I have to honor that as well, right?
Yeah.
And help them realize that. My clients all the time say, "I'm learning, you're educating me." I'm like, as long as I don't teach you too much that you don't need me anymore. But,
I'm sure they always need you. It's because it really is. I don't think you can teach someone like color skills,
right.
or that kind of design
Hmm.
eye. We all have our specialty. We're all, we all have
Exactly.
something, our special talent, skill.
Right.
John's colorblind, so we're not
And
going
I
I
to teach
have
didn't
many
I
clients
didn't
that
want
are,
to I didn't want to say that, to
Well,
her, she's like she said, somebody who has perfect pitch. Not that I have perfect pitch, but I
yeah.
do have an
Give him a
ability.
guitar.
I do have
Yeah.
an ability to know uh,
right.
certain things about that. But yeah, I don't. I'm just not colorblind. I am on the colorblind spectrum, the rarest and the least amount of people have what I
Oh, wow.
my
Yeah.
version of it. So
Yes.
yeah. So, but that's okay. That's okay. That's why we have people like you,
Yep.
Right.
because you have no idea how often I have had to call people in simply because of shading, the
Right.
shade of something.
Right.
Whatever a dominant color is near it is what I see, which is not in reality what
Right.
is on the wall or something like that.
Yes. I have some people that don't see color, honestly. And then I have some people that just see the wrong shades. They'll see that it's green, but they don't see the green that it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And sometimes I deal with couples, and one of them sees the color the way I do, and the other one sees it differently.
Mm.
And, obviously, again, I'm never saying what I'm seeing is correct, but, we have to go with something. And so that's a challenge
Well,
when
no,
they,
I mean, that's why I joked
yeah,
about the sienna because
yes,
when I was a kid, we had the box of Crayola crayons,
right.
whether it was what was it, the 16, the 24, or the 36 pack, or
The
The
64 was
64
the
pack.
was hit the
64 pack,
jackpot with that
and
one.
it
The
had the
sharpener.
sharpener built
Yeah.
into the side, and it had all these colors, and I'm like, just give me the red, the blue, the white, the
The
green,
primary colors.
The
please,
basics.
thank you.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, I was not, and they had all those other great shades. You know what? I also liked in that. I know we're getting off the sub, but they had copper. It was like a
Copper.
sparkly little copper. It was
Uh-huh.
beautiful. I didn't
Mhm.
know, I was only going to use it if I drew piping, you
Mhm.
know, I guess some pipes, but that was it. That was it. Anyway, thank you.
My son is somewhat
Well,
colorblind. He's
well,
not fully,
they
but
get it. First of all, what color eyes does he have?
he has brown
Okay,
and
but
my daughter has blue. Yeah.
they say that it only comes from the mother's side of the family. He did not inherit it from his father's side,
Right.
and the fact that your daughter has blue eyes, odds are if she passes that on, if she has a son and he has blue eyes, there's going to be a good chance.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Not to put
Interesting.
a curse on anybody, but it's just genetically or statistically the way that goes. But anyway, thank you, Gloria, for being here today. It was
Yeah, how
great. It
fun.
was
Thank
great
you.
seeing you again.
It was great to
And
see you, John.
please,
It's been so many years.
always, if you win some more awards, or if
Thank you.
you do some great, building down there in the
Mhm.
Fort Myers area, you want to come back on and talk about it again,
Yeah.
please let us know.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure
Our
Yeah.
being with
pleasure.
the
Nice to
two
meet
of
you so
you.
much. And what a fun talk we've had here.
Thank you. I
It's
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
inspiring me to want to go clean up my house. I'm cluttered. I just so too much clutter. You would come in and you
Yeah.
just get rid of a lot of stuff.
No,
Okay.
I look at what you have behind you. It doesn't look bad. I
Oh,
mean,
it's cluttered.
Oh,
My
it's
whole
pretty.
house is.
I had to leave my, not work in my office because it was just so cold out there.
Um,
I haven't had the heat on there, and so today I was like, oh yeah, I'll put the heat on. Come on, it's now 9 degrees
oh
here
gosh.
by
Yeah.
me.
Well,
So
I've had the heat down here in Florida. Poor me, right?
oh
But
yeah,
But
yeah,
Kelly, I do virtual consultations as well, especially during COVID. I did a lot of that,
yeah.
obviously,
So
but
what
I
would I
do
do? Just like take
virtual.
my phone and show you the room and everything. I
Yeah,
don't get rid of anything though. I look around and I'm
I
like,
know.
I want
But I can give
I
you some good suggestions.
well,
So
I'm one of those
I
people. I
do.
see an empty wall. I'm like, oh, I got to put something there, and like, I can't stand empty space.
So if we have, do we have another minute or so?
Yeah.
Okay. So something that I, again, explain or try to teach or
Okay.
enlighten my clients is that the same way that we as humans, people need space and to breathe. And have you
Yeah.
ever met somebody that's you like, oh my God, they're in my space, right? They're on
Yeah.
top of me. They're not, I need some breathing room.
Right.
So your furnishings need the same thing. Your furnishings, your artwork, your lamps. So when you walk in a room, if your eye is just continually connecting, so a piece of furniture, a floor lamp, a piece of artwork, a piece of furniture, another table, and all it does is connect, 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 connect. You can have the most beautiful pieces in that room, but your eye doesn't know where to stop, the average
Hmm.
Right.
person. So they're not going to appreciate any of it, including you. You're not,
Right.
it just becomes jumbled to you, even though they're lovely pieces. The other thing is that if you have too many beautiful pieces in one room. I call them showstoppers, right? So each room
Right.
should have, two or three showstoppers, but it also depends. Like down in Florida, everything's open concept. So room open to room to room to room. So we could have quite a few showstoppers going on. If you have an enclosed room, maybe just one piece is going to shout that, okay?
Yeah.
Because how I equate that is if you have too many beautiful things, outstanding chandelier, outstanding chairs, your area rug is just special. Then I equate it to the old pinball game. I'm going to date myself, but where you pulled the spring and the metal ball just went
Right.
ping, 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 ping. So your eye again doesn't know where to stop. So
Yeah.
it can't appreciate. So your items, your furniture, your belongings, they need that space to breathe so that they can be appreciated, right?
Yeah, I just need to throw some things away. I just look around and I'm like, but that's what I do. I see an empty spot and I'm like, oh, what
Yes.
can I put there? I can
Yeah.
get something else there. I collect fairies. So I have fairies all
Okay.
over my house.
All
I
right.
have them paired with like a bouquet of flowers and then a little
Uh-huh.
fairy in a teacup or a fairy on a
Right.
cupcake or,
Oh,
fairy beside it.
God.
So it's very fun.
Yes.
Um, but I might have gone overboard. So anyway,
Well, if anyone out there wants consultation virtually, that's not in Southwest Florida.
okay.
Like I said, my website is under construction, but I don't know if you can post my telephone number, email address.
Well, we
Um,
probably wouldn't post your phone number. We'll post your Facebook page and your
okay.
website.
Sure.
They can get a hold of you on Facebook, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's your phone number. Yeah,
Yep.
we'll do that and let
Okay.
people know because you can do it anywhere from anywhere.
Yes.
So,
And I do
awesome.
have clients that are here in Florida that also have homes in another state that I've done.
Okay.
Right.
I have, sometimes I know them from up north and now they've moved down here. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gloria.
Thank
Well,
you.
yeah, thank you
Take
so
care.
much. Okay, let us know if you want to come back and you've got something fun to share.
Thanks
Yep.
so
Okay.
much. Thank
Bye.
you. I
Bye.
appreciate it.
All views expressed in this video belong to Kellie Nicholson, John D'Amore, and guests. These discussions do not represent the opinions of any entity whatsoever with which they have been affiliated now or will be in the future. The opinions expressed are solely theirs, and since they are critically thinking human beings, these views are subject to change, subject to revision, and subject to rethinking at any time. These conversations are not meant to be taken as advice and are only for the purpose of entertainment. All statements may be based on hearsay and not necessarily valid proof of any claims in this video. It is not our intention to teach or advise on any topic. Unless otherwise noted, all photos are public domain. Thanks for watching A Slice of Life with Kellie and John.